Hello, friends. Happy Wednesday, May 8th. Today, we're talking about societal norms or rules of our society. And at the end, I'll explain your experiment that you're going to start today, which will be due next week on Wednesday. So I'll try to move here expeditiously to maximize your time. But you will have a week from today to next Wednesday, May 15th, to complete your norms experiment. Societal norms are rules of society. They're often unwritten. Our norms, our rules are a part of our culture. And again, if we're to go back to the definition of culture, we know that culture is meant to uh, provide consistency and efficiency for people a part of that society to operate in, right? Our culture limits, minimizes our drives and our impulses because we are animals. How our culture establishes efficiency and consistency is through its rules, its norms. Several categories of norms, some insignificant, some significant, some less important, some more important. So let's look at the four categories. Your book says three. I would argue that there's four because there's a significant difference, I feel, between a moray and a taboo. But in regards to the necessity of it, the significance of it, the importance of it, the least significant norms that we have in our society are folkways, right? Typically based on thoughts or feeling, really not, society's not going to crumble if people break folkways. They are annoying though. For example, people who walk on the wrong side of the hallway, awful. People who stop on the stairs during passing time and people are going up or down, awful. People who just decide to stop in the middle of the hallway to send a text message or have a conversation with a group of five people, annoying. But our society is not going to crumble. It's a minor impact to the efficiency and consistency of our society. The next level up in regards to seriousness and significance is mores, often based on morality, right versus wrong, oftentimes comes from our religious beliefs. If you break a folkway, you might get some admonishment from people, you might get some looks. If you break a moray, if you do something that is considered bad, this is going to have a more significant consequence. Think adultery or cheating, right? Is our society going to crumble if people are adulterers? No, but it's not good. It's not considered acceptable. Worse than a moray, we have taboos. So if we were to go back to the example I gave for moray, adultery, cheating on your spouse or partner, a taboo would be more serious than that. So in addition to cheating on your partner or your spouse, you cheat with your partner or spouse's best friend or sibling. Like that's a whole nother level of wrong. Or perhaps we take it from a different look, a folkway, a norm of thinking or feeling and behaving without moral reasons. You're expected to treat people with respect, to be kind. And if you say something mean to someone, again, not that impactful, not that significant. But if you're bullying someone, if you are intentionally seeking out to make someone's day awful, that would probably put you into the category of mores. You are intentionally being mean to someone. And then we can go right to taboo. If you're picking on someone, if you're harassing someone, if you're treating someone without respect or kindness because of their skin color or their religion, that's a whole nother category. Society can't operate. Or society begins to not operate as well if we have one group singling out and oppressing another group. The last we get to, the most serious of our rules that we follow, and these are serious because we write them down, are our laws. I gave you the example of people who stop on the stairs or stop in the hallway or walk on the wrong side of the hallways. There's no laws for that, but there are laws for traffic. You have to drive on the right side of the road. You have to follow all traffic signs and signals. You have speed limits to follow. Why? So our society can operate and function with efficiency and consistency. Can't have people driving however they want. A little bit different than walking in the hallway because people could significantly get hurt. All of these norms, all of these rules, all right, are expected to be followed. And if you're not following the rules, then you are committing something called a violation. Now, the results of the violation, the consequence of the violation are going to be different based on what category. Again, folkways probably won't have a whole lot of consequence. Laws definitely will. They typically come with fines. Depending on the law, they may come with prison sentences. If you violate one of the laws, your sanctions or your consequence can either be formal or informal. And this is where kids get a little tripped up. What separates or what defines whether or not a sanction for breaking a rule is formal or informal is who is doing the sanction, who is doing the sanctioning. If you lay into a kid who stops on the stairways to send a text message or to read a text message or is walking on the wrong side of the hallway or is standing in the middle of the hallway, if you as a student tell the other student to stop being a moron, that would be a informal sanction. You are not a person of any sort of significance, power, or an official of the school. But if Sakela were to do it or I were to do it to a student, that would make it a formal sanction. If you violate a crime or violate a rule, and your violation is caught and addressed by an official, a person of higher standing, that makes it a formal sanction. If you jaywalk across the street and the driver says, "Get out of the road, you idiot," informal. But if a cop stops you, gives you a ticket, now we have a formal sanction. Our norms have changed over the course of time. Probably the biggest change to our societal norms comes to marriage. Who gets to marry who? Or we could talk about the economic norms and how they've changed. For a long time, women were expected to be at home and taking care of the house. That's not the case anymore. Why do our norms change? Our norms change from invention, discovery, or diffusion. Invention, the creation of new objects or ideas. Why are women not necessary in the house? Amongst other things, technological advancements. They don't need to be in the house all day to make it operate. We have machines. Or perhaps it came from discovery. We have a better understanding of something. We realize that if we have all of our citizens working, generating product, earning money, that's going to lead to economic growth because they have more money to spend. Or perhaps our norms change due to diffusion. We get other ideas from other groups of people and realize that this is a better way to do it. Being that we live in a country of immigrants, our norms often are changing. All right, let's get into our project here. Again, you have a week to do it. Don't get confused by the April 29th date. That was for the in-person class. You have until the 15th. You are going to pick 3 norms to violate. I'm going to open up the observation sheet so you can see what I'm talking about here. You will create a Google Slides presentation that you will email me when you're done, but this is the document that you are going to complete. You are going to pick 3 norms to violate, okay? And your norms will be written down here, all right? Environment 1, environment 2, environment 3. You got 4, 5, and 6 down here. So you're going to conduct 6 experiments, 2 environments, 3 norms. You can pick whatever norms you want, okay? Let's go back up here. Folkways, mores, taboos, or laws. I would suggest that you don't break any laws because I'm not going to defend you in a trial. My guess is most of you will pick folkways to violate. Wearing your clothes backwards, calling your parents by their first name, not doing your dishes, whatever it is. But you'll pick the norms that you are going to violate. You'll tell me the norm that you are violating. Wore my clothes backwards. Didn't take a shower for a week. Whatever it is. That's what you'll write down. You'll write down the 2 environments in which you experiment with that norm, in which you violate the norm. Some of you are in school, so this might be a little easier for you. Some of you are not in school. This might be a little bit more difficult. And again, actions have consequences, so I would stay away from doing this at work. But you pick your two environments for each norm you violate, and I don't care if you go 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, and 6, or if you wanted to go environment 1 versus environment 4, it doesn't really matter how you complete it, just as long as I see that you violated the same norm twice in two different environments. You'll observe the response that you received, right? Is there some sort of sanction? Did someone say anything? You'll tell me what the sanction was. Was it a formal sanction or was it informal sanction? Was it your sibling saying what is going on with you? Or was it your parent? Was it a student that did it, a classmate, or was it a teacher? All right. So again, come down here to the project. 3 norms to violate. You'll violate that norm 2 times for a total of 6. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 norms to violate, 2 different environments for each norm. So if it's an example, calling your teachers by their first name. Go back to here. Norm violated. Calling teacher by first name. Over here. Calling, oops, capitals. Calling teacher by first name. You need to do that in 2 different environments. So perhaps it's English class versus social studies class. My guess is if you call a social studies teacher by their first name, what may happen is going to be different than what happens in your English class. Sometimes the social studies teachers are a little bit of a stickler, but this is how you would complete it. Write down your observation. Do they yell at you? Do they glare at you? Do they send laser beams from their eyes? Formal sanction or informal sanction? Perhaps the teacher doesn't say anything at all, but perhaps a student says, "What are you doing?" You're going to have to wait. You're going to have to make that choice as well. You're going to have to observe that as you do it. Okay. So by next Wednesday, this should be complete and should be submitted into the Schoology. All right. And then what you're going to do is once your observations are done, you're going to compile this into a Google Slides presentation. Right. You have some pictures, bonus points if you got some video of this, that would be hilarious. But you'll lay out what you did, where you did it, what the sanctions were in a Google Slides presentation. Again, you can share that with me or email it to me. I would always say email because then I know I get it or I see that I've got it. But again, next Wednesday, and this is what you guys are working on Friday this week. There will be no new video at the end of the week. But again, I'll be here on Friday and I'll be here on Thursday. So if you have questions, those would be the 2 days to let me know that you need some help. Hope you're all well. Have a great rest of the week. We are almost done. And I'll see you guys next week. Go Spartans.